Hello, my name is Amanda Knowles. I'm the director of the North Seattle College Art Gallery, and I am here today interviewing Tim Cross about his work. Where do you live, work? What do you do? What's your mode of working?
I live just north in Seattle in Shoreline, so I'm hidden in the suburbs, but working at home. We're all trapped at home, so that is life. But I also have my studio here, so everything's good. I can work and be quarantined. So I teach up at Edmonds Community College, so yeah, it's more exciting than that. It's better than that, but that's me.
And tell us about your work real quick, just like basics.
Well, the bigger picture is rather difficult because, I'm an abstract artist. I make things, I paint things, I do whatever I want. I consider myself a free-floating thing in the universe, so which sounds super cheesy, but I really kind of make whatever I want. I know but I have my own ideas and my own history and stuff, so not to be boring, but abstract artist, mostly on painting, drawing, and fiddling around. So
Fantastic.
Yeah, so I claim freedom for myself to do whatever I feel like in a moment, and that's kind of why I'm here, actually. So
in outer space.
Yeah, well, I love outer space. We're all here. We're literally in outer space right now. We're moving through, so yeah.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you holding up in this pandemic, this new world that we're all living in?
I am an excellent self-isolator, so I am in heaven. I'm actually really, really good, except for all the horrible things that are going on in my life. Other than that, so life is challenging, and there's no way I'm going to talk about that. But I have my studio, I have food, I have an awesome girlfriend, my cat ran away 3 days ago, so that's exciting. I know. Well, see, things have been really kind of lame, but I won't go in there. But so I'm happy. In my studio. I'm lucky to have my studio. We'll stop there.
Fantastic. That's great.
Oh, my cat back. If you see him.
I'm sorry about your cat. Oh.
Yeah, right? Anyway.
Oh.
Life is full of tragedy. It is. My grandma died last week. So.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No, so this interview could be all about the crappy things going on, but I'm not going to do that.
Oh, no.
Let's talk about art. Yeah.
Okay. So what? Let's talk about what is the work in the show? The implications of a simple landscape. What's it about? How did you sort of spiral into that work? And anything you really want to say here would be great.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I had it really started at a residency out on Long Beach last summer, and I was just making work. And I love these things. It starts with a very small little gesture, a small moment, and I was taking these rubbings with graphite on these planks of this walkway, and it was really just an afternoon of just sitting there making very simple drawings. And I put them away, and I later came back and I started photocopying them. And I like this idea of proliferation. You take one small thing and you multiply it and kind of extract things from that one thing. And I kept extracting. So, I mean, that's kind of part of my process and how I entered into it. Of course, all these other things kind of grow with it, and this is really cheesy, but I like growing things a lot, and I like to grow plants, and I like how things start from a seed and turn into a tree, So those ideas are really lovely. And so I took these drawings and I expanded on them, and I do this transfer process where I can take photocopies and transfer them onto other materials. And this is silk, and I went back, and these little moments from the landscape kind of proliferated and turned into a different kind of landscape. A hybrid of what creative concepts in my head and also ideas from nature. So it's kind of a combination of observational and imagined. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think there's more things came out of it. There's these frames and stuff, but for the most part, it's that proliferation idea that I love. It's fun. It's so much fun.
What are you working on in the studio now? And has anything changed because of, needing to be isolated and all that stuff, or is it all just sort of normal for you and you can just kind of continue making and, that sort of thing?
Well, I mean, the latter kind of. I mean, I am on spring break, so I'm actually having some downtime. So I'm giving myself some kind of, not needing to work for a second. I cleaned my studio for the past 2 days. I've been through every drawer, every shelf. I've cleaned everything. I've rearranged. I've gotten rid of all kinds of crap, and so I'm setting the stage for a solo show I have in July. I think up until July, and so I'm gonna do another whole body of work, and I'm retooling and setting up and making new spaces to make that work. That's my focus right now. I have tons of canvases and pieces of paper I'm working on. I work on it sounds ridiculous, but like over 20 things. I mean, I could probably pull out 30 things I'm working on. It's really odd, my process. But basically I'm cleaning, I'm organizing, I'm planning, and then I'm about to literally this afternoon just start diving in and making marks on things, and that's me.
It's great to have a clean studio, because then when you have to post all those videos for your students, it looks like you're really clean. You've been to my studio recently, I need a deep clean.
Well, I mean, we all do. I mean, that happens because you have an idea and you make a little thing and then it sits over there, and then after a year or two of that or whatever, or 10, then it gets all piled up. And for me, it's like, okay, what am it's a distraction. So I really need to, not all that. I'm not obsessive, but if I'm really going to start something fresh and a new body of work, I like to have everything kind of tidy, and then I make a horrible disaster again, which is fun. So it's just part of this kind of cleansing. When you have all these old ideas sitting around, you have a little thing you worked on, but you put aside, and you have another thing, and they really kind of take up your brain space. And I wanted to, you know what I mean? I think, yeah, we all do that. It's really common. So you have a lot of bad drawings that go in the trash, just tons. So yeah. There's a truck coming this afternoon. I'm going to load it up.
It's so funny because I never throw anything out. I think, I can just paint over that and then start another layer on top of it,
I know. It's true. And there's always uses for things.
And I always think the materials are so much more valuable than the actual drawing anyway. So I can just be like, I need that piece of paper.
I know, but when the materials get more important than the drawings, then I know it's time to let them go. I think because there's memory embedded in those moments, and there's things, and even if you paint over something, it's still there, and you're trying to. The part of it's you're trying to make it work. You're trying to take something that was going this way and turn it and stuff. And I think for the show, and for if I really want to focus, I have to kind of start from a clean slate, the tabula rasa, and that because I'm realizing that I'm trying to fix things and change things when I really should just be focusing on going straight to the thing I want to do, and then really making it nice and doing it really well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Rather than trying to fix something, because I'm
always trying to teach my students that there is a word for the history that's happening behind. If it has a name, which is pentimenti, it must be important. So it's okay if we erase. It's okay if we do all of that stuff, and that it's part of the life of the piece. Deep.
Yeah. No, I totally. Is pentimenti the word? Leonardo da Vinci used to make small corrections in his lines, and he would go over a line. And okay, I'm going to write that down.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like that, and sometimes I don't want that stuff. I feel like sometimes that's a distraction, and and if I'm erasing a drawing and trying to fix it, really that's not doing what I need to do. That's off point for sometimes.
Okay.
That's for my own. If I'm experimenting or exploring or coming up with ideas, fine. But if I'm going to make a piece that I kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do, I want it to be, boom, like arrow. You take an arrow, you shoot at the target, and you hit it in the bullseye. Which hardly ever happens, but you know what I mean. My art is changing, and I'm trying to be very direct, and I'm trying to be very straightforward. And this is all personal reasons, because I've been fussing and fiddling, and that's my words for about what I do. Rather than going over and over and over and scraping and adding and scraping and adding, that to me is an interesting psychological place. It's interesting, and I do that all the time. But directness, and specific marks. And like a mark, if you leave it and you react to that mark and make another one next to it and so on, it has a different feel. The result is totally different, and that's what I'm aiming for. It's a more direct, specific, clear way of working, and that's just a personal, not a good or bad. I'm not saying, anyway, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Tell us what you have coming up.
Linda Hodges Gallery in Pioneer Square, showing up onto July, which is good because I need more time. And then I had a really cool show up in a place called The Garage, and it's a project space run by my friend Barbara Robinson, and it was really, really fun. It happened during a viral pandemic, so I wouldn't recommend doing an exhibition during it. But who knew this was happening? So no, not many people saw it. But anyway, I just had a show, and that show, some of that will be carried on to my next show too. So I'm trying. I'm just trying to I got what I needed from the show, actually. I saw my work. I learned something from it, and so that was probably the most valuable thing. No one else saw it, except, did you see it?
I tried.
You tried.
I really did try to go and see it, but
I actually think like 20 or 30 people did see it over 2 days. So
will you tell us a little bit about the sculptural work that you do too?
Honestly, I don't really touch it. It's very reactionary, so I don't think about it. A lot of it has to do with the objectness of a piece. So I'm a painter, but really I'm not a traditional painter in the sense. I'm more interested in paintings as objects and paintings as things. And there's actually a bunch of ideas that I want painting. I want painting to be all those things. I want them to have space. I want them to read as, figured ground and compositional things and the gesture and even representational and abstract. I mean, there's so much. I love art history. So I look back and I think, I can't just choose one of these things. Is it pop art? Is it abstract expressionism? Is it, whatever? And I love all those things. And I'm anti-ideological in the sense that I grew up in an ideological way, and I want, instead of choosing, here we go, this is complicated. So instead of just choosing one way or another, saying, I like this, I'm going to do like this, or one road, and I want all the roads, because I think all these ways of thinking about art are awesome, and some of those are at odds. So how do you take things that are at odds and that are kind of conflicts, and put them together, like working with imagery and working with marks on top of imagery, using a painting that is a painting space, but also an object and functions in interesting ways. So a lot of my paintings in the last show were like cast plaster or cast plastic, and then I would paint on those, or I would make the frames and do transfers of imagery and photographs that I found and then paint on those, or I would, so it was really kind of folding in many different ideas, and it's really fun. I make a lot of bad work, but then oftentimes those things gel into something that works. So the sculpture kind of comes out of that, and I don't make, I have some new sculptures that are coming from different places, and I can't really describe them. They're long. I mean, they have spent months and months thinking about them. So there's all these different ideas that kind of creep in. So it's not a direct thing. I want to make a sculpture and then I build this thing. It's actually a long thought process that brings all these things together, and that's really my head. And I don't have a specific clear thing where I'm like, I'm gonna do this, it's done. It's very much a thinking thing over a long period of time, and I'll work on paintings for months. I have a painting that I'm gonna finish that's been on for like a year and a half. I'm just sitting around, and then I have sculptures that I just add to, and I change, and I add to, and I change, and over, months and months. And, I'm a freak, and it's all good.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff, but you asked.
That's perfect. Wonderful.